Oh, hello, hello, hello. Let me move that out of the way for 1 second. I'll pick it back up in a minute. But hello. Oh, let's. There we go. Oh dear. Right. Bear with me. Something has happened. Right, let's put it back on again. That's annoying. Okay. That should do it now. Right. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully I'm everywhere I should be. I've just had to have a little faff around with things, but it's looking good, I think. Let me just see. Yes, yeah, we're looking good. So, hi Karen, hi Peggy, it's good to see you. Hi Karen. Yeah, I just had a little bit of I had to have a little bit of a mess around with it, but yeah, I had for some reason it didn't come on straight away, but I managed to have a little fiddle around with it and get it working. Hi Robin, hi Lois, hi Deborah, hi Andrea, hi Anya. Oh, it's really hi Stephanie, hi Sandra, hi Joe. Oh, it's nice to see everyone. Well, I'll give it a little minute or so for everyone to get in. Hi Brenda, hi Sylvia, and Belinda, hi Fiona. I'm so glad you found me. I know. We had a little technical blip right at the beginning, but I managed to sort it out. Hi Candice, hi Petra, hi Katie, hi Petri, and hi Saskia and Harriet. Hi Sandra and Catherine. Oh wow, it's so nice to see everyone. It's really nice. Hi Alice. Oh, excellent. Thank you for liking and commenting and sharing. That's wonderful. So this evening, I thought I'd show you how I put this little one sheet wonder together. This is just made from a sheet of A4 paper. So I thought I'd show you how I did that. So it's got the new tag variety pack I used to make my tags, and that's 2237. And you can see I made a bit of a boo-boo when I did my tags, because I put this one on and I put it the wrong way up. So what I did is I put another hole in it and added my eyelet. That's it. Added my eyelets, and I quite like that. I think that looks quite nice. So I made my tags from the new tag set. And I've also used this little piece. I'll show you actually. I'll get my dies and I can show you, because I want to get a couple of stamps out of here to do what we're going to do. So the border flower, I don't know if can you see that? Yeah. I just used the one die that makes these little they're little frames, aren't they? They're little. I use it as a little frame when I do my labels. So that's the one die I've used from there, and I've also used. Oh, if you're wondering what the number is for that, it's 2114, And then I've also used Get Into Gear for all of my gears that I'm going to be using. So there's some gears, but I don't need to get that out now because I've already done that. I'm going to take from here, I'm going to take one of the passport stamps, which is CS363. And I'm also going to take the script from the past stamp, which is CS343. And then I've also used, let me see, what else have I also used? I have used, oh, bear with me, I've used the laced stamps. I've stamped that really cool advertisement out as part of the design. And I've also used these stamps, which are backgrounds from the past, and they are CS323. They're a really handy pack to have. And then the other die I've used is called Laced as well, and it's 2210. And the bit I've used from it is I've used the butterfly bit, because I really like to stamp the laced stamp on there for the text, and then I cut out my butterflies and use them. So I think that is about everything that I have used, and I've got out the bits that I wanted. I mean, you could use anything and everything on this. So I'm going to start off with a piece of, this is A4, or I suppose you could use letter size, just white paper. You don't want anything too thick. I think this is about probably 120 GSM, maybe 140, something like that. It's really thin paper, not so thin I can see through it, but it's quite thin. So I'm going to use that. Oh, and I forgot as well, and I'm using a stencil as well. I think I'm going to use this one, which is from the stencil set 7. And in my sample, I used this one, which is 6, which is the lace one. There we go. I think that about covers everything that I'm going to be using, and obviously some distress inks. What I thought I'd do is I'll use the same colour combination that I've used on this one, because a lot of people seem to like that colour combination. Oh, and I forgot the other thing I used as well. I used some of David's washi tape. I'll show you how I use that in a minute. Right. So there we go. I'm going to use this colour combination, which is Rusty Hinge, Tea Dye, where's the blue, and Salty Ocean. Those are the 3 colours that I've used mainly to get my colour combination. And I've added a little bit of Uncharted Mariner, Ground Espresso, and just around the edges and things. So I'm going to start off by using the Salty Ocean. Now my brushes are not very soft anymore. They're not, they don't blend as nicely as I'd like them to. So just bear with me if I'm a little bit bitty. I'm not worried about it, because I know that the final effect is going to be fine. The final effect's not going to be spoiled by this. But I need to give my brushes a really good wash so that I can get the best out of them. So you can see I'm just kind of rubbing around which is a new technical term. Hi, a little bird. Hi, hi. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Anya. Oh, it's one of my favourite colour combinations. If you ever look at my Instagram, not that I'm not. That sounds like I'm touting for you to look at my Instagram. But when I look at my Instagram, what I notice is there's a lot of blue and brown because I really like this combination. Right, that's enough of that one. Then I'm going to take the tea dye next. Am I? No, I'm going to take the rusty hinge next, actually, because I know then if I get a little bit too bright with this rusty hinge, I know that I'll be able to knock it back a bit with the tea dye. So that will work quite nicely for me. And now there are two corners on here that I really don't need to worry about, but I'll just do the whole sheet for now, I think. So I'm giving it a good coating. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Cindy. I know I'm not very good at blowing my own trumpet, as it were. I don't know why. I'm just not. Right, so I'm going in now with the tea dye, and these are all oxides, so they work quite nicely. Now, just keep going until your page is covered. And don't worry if it looks like a mess, because it's all going to be fine. You've just got to trust the process and don't worry. It's not finished until you're happy with it. All right, so that's the tea dye. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, thank you. It's just one of my favourites. Right, now I want to do a little bit darker around the edge. So I'm going to get that Uncharted Mariner. And then just bring in a little bit in. There we go. And I realised I've been doing this. I've been thinking, I feel like there's something missing, and it's because when I was doing my practices, I did all the folds first, but it will be fine this way. It will still work, and actually, there is a benefit to doing it this way, which I will explain shortly, and I'll be able to show you as well. There we go. Just going to stick a little bit of that there too. Oh, lovely. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to clean my mat because I know if I don't, I'll end up smudging or making a mess on something that I don't want to make a mess on. So what's that saying? Clean as you go and you'll never have to go and clean. Right, so this is the start. Now I'm going to take one of my stencils. I decided on this one from, this is from set 7 of the stencils. I don't know if you'll see it on this one because there's a lot of paint. But if you look at your stencils, there's actually, I mean, some of you will know this, but some of you might not. So I'm just going to explain it. If you look at your stencils, there are 2 sides to your stencil. Well, obviously, but they are quite different, okay? There's one side which will have smooth edges, But when you turn your stencil over, and this is true of all stencils, you'll be able to feel the slight cut edges, because as it's cut, it's pushed down slightly, and then you get that slight edge. It's really, really tiny, but it means when you're doing techniques like this one I'm going to do now, you really want to make sure you've got the smooth side down on your paper for the best results. So it's an odd one. You wouldn't think it, would you? But it's true. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my water and I'm going to spray this stencil. And then I'm going to put it down on my paper. And I'm going to just take a bit of kitchen roll for the next bit. And I'm just going to push it down on there. There we go. And then I'm going to lift this up. You can leave this for a while. And then I'm just going to gently pick up the excess water on there, and hopefully you can see there where it's bleached out some of that. Yes, absolutely, Belinda. You need to use the smooth side for the best results. So I'm just going to go. It's already down, so I'm going to go there regardless. And again, I'm just pushing it down. And if you want a greater effect from this, you can leave it. You can leave it to dry on its own. Leave it overnight, and you'll get an even more intense effect. So I'm just lifting up that water, and you can see again there. And one more time. There we go. And let's put that there. And where's my bit of kitchen roll? There it is. And again, I'm just pushing it down. And you could do all sorts with this. If you fancied a quiet evening's entertainment or quiet afternoon, you could draw around the edges of the design if you wanted to. Let me just pick that up off there. There we go. So that is how I got the pattern on my paper for my sample that you've seen. Now I'm just taking the ink off my stencil, because otherwise I know I'll go to use it and wonder where the colour has come from. So it's better just to get on. So there we go. We've got some pattern on the paper. It's not too damp, but I'm just going to give it a little dry, because there are other things that I would like to do to it. There we go. That will do. It didn't take much, just a little dry off. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that script from the past stamp, because I quite fancy that on here. But what I need to remember is that one side of this will be one way and one side of it will be another. So if I put my middle fold in there, I can work with that. And I'm going to use the Uncharted Mariner on here because I think it will really pop on this page. And I'm being mindful of that line. I'm just going to do it a couple of times because we'll be putting lots of folds into this anyway. There we go. Let's do that one, and then I'm going to turn it round and do the same on the other side. I really like that. There we go. That's about the same place as well. That's one. And two. And then I think I'm going to use that little postmark or passport stamp as well, just adding a little bit more interest. I'm just giving my stamp a spray and a wipe because I don't want to leave that oxide on there. And let's take this one. And I've got, oh yes, I've got some Portobello Claire here, VersaFine Claire, so I'm going to use that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely good to remember. Fortunately, with these postmarks, it doesn't really matter whether they're the right. I'm doing some second and third generation stamping as well, and fourth with these. Right, that's on there, so just right. I am happy with how that is. Let me just wipe that off my mat. Okay, so I'm really happy with this as my base. What I want to show you is a bit of a neat tip. Well, it's not a trick, it's a tip. Okay, so this is one that I did, and I folded it before I did all my design work on here, which I could have just done a plain piece of paper. But what I want to say is when you've done one that you really like, scan it to your computer or copy it on your printer. These are copied on my printer and just onto just standard copy paper. Now, what happens when you do, a copy, putting it into the top of your printer, you'll get a little edge around it. So the size will change slightly, but that's not a problem. But if you scan it into your printer and then print it off, it will be the exact size that you want. So it's a really nice way of having papers that you really like. You quite often do a design and think, oh, I really like that. And you'll never make the same design again. It'll be similar, but you'll never make it the exact same. So a real good trick is to scan the ones that you really like into your computer before you do anything else with them. Now I am gonna just do some little white splatters before I do anything else as well. I mean, I'll put on my fans blowing it. I'll probably might do some more when we have the finished article, but I want to do some before we start the folding Right, let's get that out of the way. And this was this is bleed proof white, which is amazing stuff, and it lasts forever, and it always gives me a nice true white splatter. Yeah, it's great to have copies, and the thing is, when you make a paper that you really like, it's lovely to have it on hand then. And also, if you like making little booklets like this, you can send a few out for Christmas, or the birth of a baby or something like that. It's always handy to have. Right, I'm just drying this off. It shouldn't take too long now. And we've already done the central fold. Right, will I risk it? Let's see. I'm just dabbing it to make sure I'm not going to smear anything. No, we're all right. So I've done that first fold, and I found a wet bit. Then what I would suggest with oil folds is that you then fold them back the other way as well. And try and get them. I say try and get them because I never get them completely how I want them, but try and get them as accurately folded as you can, because that will make all the difference in how your little booklet comes together. So I've done that fold in the middle, vertically. Now I'm going to fold in the middle horizontally, and I'm going to match up that fold, which doesn't quite match up with those edges. There we go. So I'm doing it that way, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it the other way. It'll just mean that the folds sit nicely. And then I'm going to fold this one to the middle. Like that. And again, folding it back on itself. And back again. And then I'm going to fold this side to the middle. So you can do this with any sized piece of paper that you want. But I really like doing it with the A4 or letter size. Right, so I've done my folds there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to bring it down. I'm bringing it down almost flush, but not quite. So, and I'm going to do the same on its opposite corner. So I'm bringing it down almost flush, but not quite, because I don't want to go on that fold, because it will hamper how it then comes together. And I'm going to do the same as I did on the other one. I'm going to just fold one way and fold back again. So we've got that. So when this comes together now, I'll have two pocket flaps there. And how I've covered my corners for my pocket flaps is I've used David's washi tape. So we know that this corner is going to be seam. So I'm just layering up the washi tape. And I think I need to do maybe another layer. There and there. And gently lift that off, and then I'll just trim the edges with my scissors if I can find them. Where have they run off to? I don't know. Oh, hang on, big scissors. That's better. Right, so I'm going to trim. Turn it over to trim it. Don't try and trim it on the side the tape is on. So there. For the scanned copies, you could even alter the... Yeah, absolutely, Belinda. You can do all sorts. Hi, John. Lovely to see you. So I'm just cutting there and taking that off. So I've now, when I fold that up, I'll have that tape, and I think I need just a little bit more actually. So let's do just a little bit more and trim that off from the other side. There we go. And when I fold that up now, yeah, that's perfect. So I've done that side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this other side as well. So let's just go like this. I do like David's washi tape. Although I like washi tape. It's really gorgeous stuff, isn't it? Very handy. Right, so I think that should be about there. No, that's going to need one more as well. Let's stick it on there. There we go. And then I'm going to trim that off on the other side. Get rid of that tape. And on the other side again. There we are. So we've got, I'm just trying to get the tape off my fingers, sorry. Right, so we've got our pockets. And the other thing I want to do is I want to create little finger holes, which I'm going to then put the tape on as well. But I'm going to fold it first so that I don't make any errors with my positioning. So I'm folding it in half that way. Okay. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to take that tape off actually before I do anything. And then I'm going to cut, but I'm only cutting to the middle of that. You know, I'm not cutting all the way to the end. I'm just cutting this first square. So there we go, cutting to that point there. So that's where the cut is. So now it's here. I've got 2 squares with a cut on and a square either side that I haven't. Well, it's not a square, is it? Sorry, it's a rectangle. So then I can bring this to create my little book. There we go. I can bring it down and it creates my little book. And I did my text upside down, but nobody knows but us. So that's how that's going to go. And then I'm going to take, I've got a little circle cutter here. So I'm going to cut a little, I think the correct term is a thumb notch. So I'm going to cut one there. And then I'm also going to cut one here. So I folded it up first just to make sure I get them in the right place. You can, once you get a feel for this, you'll be able to do it without worrying about that. Now, my edges are always a little bit uneven, but I don't mind it because I know I'm going to cover them up with some tabs in a minute. So one of the things I am going to do though is I'm going to take my pencil, because otherwise I know I won't remember, and I'm going to put a little mark here and a little mark here, because then I know that's where I need to put another little bit of tape. Let me just make sure. Yes, no. Yes, I've got that right. So now I'm just going to take another little bit of the washi tape, and I'm probably going to need two pieces to be on the safe side. There and there. There, and just on this side as well. So we're using the washi tape instead of inking or putting another piece of paper or anything like that. So now I can put it together, and I can trim any little excess bits that I'm not happy with. But if I look in here, I've got my pocket. I'm going to put some glue down that edge. I've got another pocket here, and it's got that nice washi tape in the background. I've got a double page here, and then I've got another pocket and another pocket. So you should have four pockets. I'm just looking at the edge there. That's a little bit of raised washi tape, so I'm going to trim that off because I don't want sticky washi tape getting in my way. And then I'm just going to unfold it now, and I'm going to take my ground espresso, and I'm going to give everything, all the edges, a little ink. So we'll just do this nice and quickly. Just giving everything a little ink. Oh, that's a little bit too big. Never mind. Just giving everything in ink, because I like that look. You can also do this. You could do this before you do the stencil technique as well, and then you would have the impact of the stencil. There we go. Just coming around the edges. And then I'm going to do this edge. A little squeaky. How do I keep? Well, Chris, I made the mistake of doing it upside down on this one. But that was human error, and I didn't pay enough attention to what I was doing. The best way to do it, what I would recommend, is fold it first. If you fold it first, then you will know exactly what you're putting where, and it makes it a lot easier. This one that I did, I folded it first so that I could see which way the script needed to go. Yeah, and I would recommend to do that. And just doing the edges again on here. How are we doing for time? We're not doing too badly. I've got all my little individual elements ready for the tabs, so that's not going to be too much of a faff. I've got a little bit more tape that's standing proud that I don't really want there, so I'm just trimming it because we can we can trim and we can alter and we can faff and we can do whatever we want because it's our design and we're making it. So again, just trying to speed things up a little bit here so that we can get on with the next bit. Now to make my tabs, I'm just going to use some more paper, but there are tab dies. David has done some tab dies, so you could cut them with a die if you wanted to. I'm just going to cut mine from straight pieces of paper for now because I want them slightly bigger. Right, so I am all inked. Let's give that. Such a waste. I wish I was dipping paper in that. Right, there we go. So you can see I've inked all my edges now. So I'm going to glue some of this together. Let me get some glue. Oh, are we all right? Yes, we are. So I just knocked one of my lights. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing some of this together. So I know that's going to go there. This is going to go here. And I am going to do just a tiny thin line of glue along that edge as well. You don't need to glue these edges. You can just keep it folded, but I like to glue it. And I'm also going to put a line of glue along the bottoms of these pockets, because when we fold it all up together, we're going to want those pockets to have bottoms, and they won't if we don't glue them. So let's hang on. You need to go like that, and like that, and like that. So that's everything glued that we want gluing. So you can always stick a little peg or paper clip on it if you want to make sure it stays glued, but I think that will be all right because I'm going to pop that to one side now while we make the little tabs. And to make tabs, I just took another piece of paper, which I will do right now. Oh no, that's not. That's a different piece of paper. Hang on. Come here, paper. So it's just another piece of paper. It doesn't have to be anything substantial. This is the same sort of paper that I used for my booklet. It's very thin. And I'm going to cut about, I'm cutting about 1.5 inch strip. I probably don't need it that big, but it is that big. And then I'll do 2.5 maybe. Yeah, 2.5. So I've done 1.5 inch by 2.5, and I'm doing it 4 times. And actually, the ones that I did on the original one that I showed you, I just cut them, without even thinking about that. Ah, Teresa, yeah, I know. I had never thought to fold corners before either, and I was just playing around, and I did. It happened, and I thought that's not a bad idea. I'll share that. So I've got these 4 pieces of paper now, and I'm folding them in half. There you go. nice long vertical folds. Like so. And I could have done, what I'm about to do, I could have done all on one strip really, couldn't I? But hey ho. And then I'm just going to get a corner rounder. And I'm just rounding the corners so they make little tabs for me. This is a larger corner rounder than the standard, just in case you are wondering. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoy it, Chris. I really love sharing. And you know, if ever I make anything and you're wondering how I did it, you're welcome to drop me a line and ask me. I'm always happy to answer questions, because you know that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about sharing and you know our wonderful community. Right, so these are my tabs that I'm going to stagger on my little book, and I'm going to use 2 of the colours, maybe all 3 of them. I'm going to use the same colours that I used on my book, but it's not going to take anywhere near as much. Actually, I'm going to leave the blue because I'm going to use that for adding an accent. Now, where did I put? Right, so I've got my rusty hinge, and I'm not really getting too hung up on how I'm putting it on there. I'm just putting it on there. It doesn't really, you know, I'm not going to see too much of the tabs, so I'm not getting too worried about anything. All I need to do is get some colour on them and I'm away. Actually, I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. Let's have a little bit of blue. If you missed the beginning, I need to clean this brush so it doesn't give a very nice blending effect. And if you ever find that with your brushes, it's generally because they've got hard and filled with product and they need a good wash, and that's what this one needs. It needs a good wash. Right, that's those ones, and I'm going to do what I did on the other one, and I'm going to use the Uncharted Mariner. Oh, thank you, Terry. Thank you. I'm using the Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just inking up my stamp, even not stamping up my ink because that really wouldn't work. And then I'm going to hopefully do all 4 of them in one go. Okay. There we go. Now, how are we doing? I've got just over 10 minutes. I don't want to. So I've got 4 nice tabs there. I'm just going to wipe that off because we don't like a messy work surface. There we go. And then I am going to take walnut stain, or you could use ground espresso, or you could use scorched timber, whichever one of those that you like. Or vintage photo, that's another good one. Because we all have our favourites, don't we? We all have the ones that we prefer to use. There we go. Just get those edges. And these ones. It's one of those projects that it can take as long or as short a time as you like with it, really. You can whizzy through it, and especially if you print your base book. Does that make sense? Your base book? Yeah, it does. If you print that, yeah, I mean, in a journal, it would be fab. Hey, Angela, nice to see you. Nice to see you. So those are my tabs, and I'm going to make my tabs all the same. It's a bit of a mass make, which is a really nice thing to do if you like journal making. It's nice to make lots of tabs so that you can put them on your projects as and when you want to. So one of the stamps I used, I showed you before, the backgrounds from the past. I've inked the paper with the same blue that I've used in my project, and I'm going to use some strips of that. And I've also got the label from the lace stamp. Oh, Glynis, yes, I will. I will use. So I really need to do my brushes, because I've been using them, and I just haven't got around to cleaning them, and it's affecting how they work now. So I really do need to do something about it. So I'm just ripping. Now what you could do again is you could do a ton of these, but I just need 4 today, so I'm just going to do 4 because time is getting on, and I know there'll be other people doing lives tonight, and I don't want to take up other people's time. So I'm doing 4 strips of this. There we go. And come here. So I've got 4 strips of the blue and 4 pieces of that advert that I've cut up. And they're going to be part of how I put this together. I'm just looking for my little inky pad, and I'm just going to do the edges of all these little bits of paper just really quickly. Obviously, I wouldn't normally be this this whizzy, but I really want to show you my thought process with positioning the people, because I incorporated that little label frame from the Border Flowers dies, because I thought it was really cool for, I don't know if you know the Tim Holtz little paper dolls. Some of them are leaning on things and sitting on things, and when I saw that shape, I just thought it really lends itself to allowing the little dolls to lean on it or sit on it and things like that. So I picked out all the dolls that are leaning and sitting, so I can have a little play with them on that little frame. There we go. And I'm going to also want 4 butterflies, so I'm going to just ink 4 of my little butterflies as well. I love these butterflies. I use them. I use them all the time because I just really, really love them. I think they're a brilliant little accent. There we go. I'm going to fold that in the middle and give it a little ink. There we go. And that gives me a little line in the middle. Oh, Chris, that's so kind of you to say. Belinda, yeah, they just lend themselves to, you can pop them on these tabs and then those paper dolls just lean and sit and it's great. But we will do that now. So, but I really do recommend, having an hour or an hour or whatever, half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever time you've got, and just cutting lots of little bits out so that when you want to sit down and do something, you've got everything to hand, and it makes the process a lot smoother. Right, that's all ready. I don't know which dolls I'm going to use yet, so I can't ink those. But I'm going to do all the tabs pretty much the same. But one thing I need to bear in mind, where did I put my little book that I made? Oh, Rachel, you are honestly... I've put that little book down. Now, you just saw me make it. So it can't have gone far, can it, really? Right, rather than waste time looking now, I'm going to have to find it in a minute because I'm going to use it in a minute. One thing to bear in mind with your tabs, if you're putting long pieces on, like I'm going to put on now, have a think about if you want them staggered, like I've got them staggered. So as I flick through this, if you look at this blue strip here, you can see on this first one where the tab's up high, I've got a long bit at the bottom. And then I've left a little bit more space there. And as I'm coming through, I'm moving that paper on the tab. So you can see on this one, it's almost the opposite again. So I hope that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to do with the tabs. As I look around me, wondering where on earth I've put that little book, but I will find it shortly, I'm sure. So I'm going to start with this one. And we're going to turn that fan off now, actually. So I'm just going to pop this strip right. This strip is right at the top there because this is going to be a front strip. And then I want this piece of paper about here. Whoops, other way around. So I'm staggering them because it adds a little bit more interest again. And then I'm going to take my cogs. I'm just using the 3 smaller cogs from David's Get Into Gear dies. There we go. Let's add those. And these ones here. Oh no, time is getting the better of me. I'll put that one there. Oops, up on there. And then I'm going to take my little frame there, and that's going to go about there, I think. I think that will work nicely. So just adding a little bit more glue. There. So that's ready for somebody to lean on there or sit on. We'll have a look and decide. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of thread out of my sewing machine. Pop a little bit of thread down. I like it because I think it adds a bit of interest. If you don't like it, then don't do it. It's really personal preference for that sort of thing. So there we go. I've got my first tab for my first page. I don't bother doing anything on the other side because I think one side is enough. You don't need to do both sides. So let me find, I really need to find that little book. Oh, can you believe it, honestly? I popped it to one side to dry. That's bonkers. The craft fairies have been here, haven't they? That's bonkers. Let me just check. Oh, there we are. My fan blew it onto the floor. So I'm going to stick this one on. So this one will go on the front there. I really like all of that thread. So let's put the glue on. Put the glue on there. There we are. And back a little bit. There we go. And the thing I like about putting the tabs on these little books is that it then hides any inconsistencies you've got with your folds, because I know I always get a little inconsistency with it, and I find having the tabs on there as well. I mean, I like the tabs, but I find having the tabs on there just makes a real, finishing touch. Karen, layering. I love layering. It's one of my favorite things to do. So he is leaning. Now I wonder what he would look like. I'm just kind of having a little audition. I do quite like him leaning on there. I think I've got the slightly bigger version of him as well. Yes, I have. So, and I'm really glad of doing these types of projects because I've had these paper dolls for a little while and it's really nice to just use them. Oh, I like him on there. And then I might need to put a word or something there, I think. But yeah, I think he works really well on the front. Definitely. Were you having a break at work? So let's a little stick into me. Let me stick. I'm going to go with that bigger one. I like him a lot. Let's stick him on. And also let's give him, I like to give them a little inking around the edge before I stick them on, because sometimes the edge can seem very sort of stark, and giving them a little ink just helps them. There we go. So let's pop some glue on him and pop him there. If you can hear a little person, that's my granddaughter on her way to bed. Yes, so I like him leaning on that there, and I am going to pop a word probably in there. Now, it's just past the hour now. I don't know, shall I finish this off, or are you happy with where we're at? I can finish this off if you'd like. It shouldn't take too long. It should probably be maybe another 10 minutes or so. It's entirely up to you guys. What do you think? Should we call it a night or shall we carry on for 10 minutes? Carry on for 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to do these other bits, and I'm going to keep my eye on this book and make sure that I don't misplace it again. So I'm doing exactly the same, but I'm bringing this piece up a little bit this time because it needs to go up a little bit higher this time. There we go. And then I've got this piece. I love using just fragments of things. And there we go. This is a really, really basic kind of layer. It's not anything, we've just got these 2 pieces of paper on top of the tab, and then it's some cogs, and we're away. So then I've got my 3 smaller cogs. Let me get those while I'm at it. And I've waxed them. They're cut out of black cardstock and waxed. I'm just getting them ready for the other ones there as well, just to make life easier. And so I'm going to put these cogs on, and I could do a load of these tags and just have them waiting for when I want to. Oh, we've lost one of the lights now. Never mind. It's because I've gone over an hour and my little lamp doesn't go over an hour. But we should be all right. There we go. Let's do that one. And then I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to put the person yet. So I'm going to stick this one in place before I put my little frame on there. So it won't be long. There we go. So there you are. You can see I have just stuck it all in pretty much the same way, except I've come up a little bit higher because I know that this one is going to go lower on the page. There. And so this is for this page, and I'm going to come in and stick it down. Let's make sure it's in the right place. There we go. And so this one is just come down a little bit. It's sticking out a little bit more as well, but we don't mind that. And so I'm going to grab one of these frames, and let's see, who are we going to... Now, he's quite big. Yeah, that's not going to go... He's not going to go on that one because... Oh, but this one might. Is he going to go on there? No, he's a little bit big too as well. Let's see. I could come down a bit. Will that go there? Yeah, I mean, I think that will work like that. Sorry, I'm a little bit low down there, aren't I? I think she will work. Oh, Chris, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would. It's just playing around. You just play around and come up with something. Let's put that one there. And I'm going to just ink quickly. I'm nowhere near this quick normally when I'm just doing things on my own, but it's a different way of working, isn't it? So there we go. Let's pop her there. Oh, she's so cute. Right, so we've got another 2 to do. So let's take that one. And again, I've got to come down. A little bit lower with my blue paper this time, or a little bit higher, isn't it? Because I'm bringing the tab. The tab is coming down a bit lower. There we go. And let's just put the glue there for this little bit of advert. And then add the cogs. There. Go. Let's add those on. And a little one as well. There, and then I want to add a butterfly. Where's my inked ones? There they are. And I want a bit of thread. I forgot the thread on the last one. And I do really like adding the thread. There we go. Pop the butterfly on there. So there we go. And we'll pop this one in place. And I'll add that little frame once it's in place and we can see who we're going to lean or stand or sit or have near. There. Oh, let's come over a little bit too far. There we go. There. So that one is in now. I wonder. No, I can't. I was going to see if I can take this off and add some thread because there we go. I can do it. I can do it. Let's add a little bit of thread. Oh, well done, Harriet. Well done. Good luck to everybody. It's such a good prize, isn't it? It is not to be sniffed at. Let's stick it back down. I've just added a bit of extra glue there. Right, so we've got this one, and let's get another. Probably going to put this here, but I just wanted to make sure before. Now, she could sit. Oh, yeah, she does. She sits perfectly there. So I'm not even going to look at any of the others. Let's get her on there. So just pushing that down and ink around the edges of this one. I would normally take a bit more care. Don't you roll off the edge of the table. There we are. And let's pop her on there. Let's just get the butterfly up. There we go. So she's sitting there. And then we've got our last tab to put together. And this one is right at the bottom. So this will need to go there. And then put a bit of advert there. Ooh, get on there. There. And then cogs. Let's pop them on. And let's go here. And here, like that. And we'll pop butterfly here. Oh, bit of thread. Oh, I can't wait to see. Please do. If you make them, please tag me, because I would really like to see what you do. It would be really cool. That's good bob glue on that, because it's going onto the thread. There we go. And that's the last one now. So we'll pop that into place. There we go. That one's in place, and we'll take a little frame. Oh, I feel like we should have somebody standing, perhaps. I might do that one. Yeah, I might do this one here like this for this one. And maybe, yes, the smaller girl there. So let's just glue this frame in. And you could tie threads to these. You could do all kinds of lovely things. I'm just whizzing on with this tonight. Oh, that's on a bit of a wonk. There we go. Let's have you straight-ish, please. Where's the little girl? There she is. I'm going to give her a little bit of an ink around the edges to lose some of those harsh white lines. There we go. And let's pop her in. There. That's nice. Now, we could do more. We could always do more. But this is where we're at with this one. And then, of course, we can make tags, and we can put them in all the pockets. Or you could potentially put ATCs in the pockets and make it a little ATC book. That would work. Hang on, I've got a bit of thread going somewhere. Hang on. Let's just snip it, and then it doesn't matter. There we go. And there's another one in there. No, there. There, and there's the last one in there. So there we go. That's my little one sheet wonder, and I definitely need to put a word in there. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed being here, and yeah, it's been awesome. So the products I use the Border Flower die, just that little frame from the Border Flower dies, which is 2114. I used David's Get Into Gears, which are 2035. I used the Tag Variety Pack, which is 2237. I used the Laced Stamp, which is CS401. And I used the Laced Dies for my little butterflies, and that's 2210. The tags are cut from Abandoned Papers, which is CO17, and the stamping on that one little blue element is from Backgrounds from the Past, which is CS323. And I use stencil set 7 as well. Oh, and Script from the Past was the script I used. But I think that's everything. But if you've got any questions ever, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I'm very happy to answer anything that I can. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you. Good night. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.